The 6th of December, 1969. Gimme Shelter, the infamous documentary following legendary band, the Rolling Stones, on the last weeks of their 1969 tour, sparked an unexpected fascination deep within me. The film shows the build-up to the Altamont Free concert, the last crescendo in the band's tour, and a great third act for a documentary. Hasty planning, last-minute location changes over costs, and a lack of toiletry or medical facilities didn't stop the band, wrapped up in their own success story. When their final location was confirmed, a problem emerged. Their stage was too low to keep fans back on the downhill slope. Then came the solution. The notoriously violent biker gang, the Hells Angels, were hired to provide security in exchange for $500 worth of beer.
He was standing beside me. We were watching Mick Jagger, and this Hells Angel, the fat one, I don't know his name, he came over and said that we were too close or something. We had too good a view of Mick Jagger. He was just being uptight. And he reaches over and grabs the man standing beside me by his ear and his hair and just starts yanking. He thought it was funny. He was kind of laughing.
The scene at the concert was unstable, angry, and violent. The film highlights the growing tension between the Hells Angels and fans. Fights broke out as the gang got increasingly drunk and the fans got increasingly angry. Many performing acts were injured by the skirmishes, and when the Rolling Stones emerged, you can see the hope for peace flood the venue. Peace, if only. During their performance of Under My Thumb, Gimme Shelter captures the moment in which one fan can be seen in the crowd brandishing a .22 caliber revolver, before Alan Pissarro of the Hells Angels pulls out a knife and stabs him in the neck, killing the 18-year-old boy.
So, this guy that you're talking about, is this the black guy that got killed?
Yeah, right. So he shook loose, and the Hells Angel hit him in the mouth. He fell back into the crowd, and the Hells Angel jumped at him from stage and jumped at him. And he tried to scramble through the crowd, but 4 other Hells Angels jumped at him, and they started mugging him. And
this is when they claim he had the gun?
No. I just saw the flash of the blade.
Gimme Shelter presents this boy as violent, dangerous, with no mention of his name. Searching up the killing provided my first encounter with the victim, who he was, 18-year-old Meredith Hunter, his eyes full of pain and purity. The first result I found was a Wikipedia article on the incident, where it described that, after Meredith was driven away from the stage, he subsequently returned to the stage area and drew a revolver, a narrative reinforced by Gimme Shelter's short-sighted point of view. I saw media outlets at the time embrace this angle on the story of Meredith's life. One news article described how he leaped on the stage and pulled a gun during a performance. Another, how the so-called black man challenged the Hells Angels. The black guy flashed this gun, and 2 or 3 of the angels jumped him. Just another violent black man. A drop in the American media's sea of similar false narratives. But other articles found, detailing the event much closer, began to paint a picture the mainstream media seemed to want to keep hidden. And it enraged me to my core. Born 24th of October, 1951, Meredith Hunter, nicknamed Murdoch, was a kid who kept pigeons as pets, enjoyed driving around in his toy car, and cared for his sister. But his childhood was plagued by shortcomings. His father abandoned the family when Meredith was young. His mother was a prostitute that suffered from schizophrenia, leaving him to be raised by his older sister, who left the house young after their mother became involved with an abusive partner. Meredith began getting into trouble with the law from a young age, and as he grew older, dressed in flashy outfits and acted out further, all in an effort to attract attention. During the summer of 1969, Meredith met Patty Brethoft at a party, sparking a loving relationship that would end that fateful night. The couple had just gone to see The Temptations a few weeks before Altamont, and when that event finally settled on a venue, they knew they had to go. Meredith's sister found out about their plans, and she promptly tried to talk him out of it. With high racial tensions at the time, Tracy being a more conservative city than Meredith's home of Berkeley, and the couple being of different races, it was a mixture that was bound to cause them harm, and Meredith's sister knew it. Meredith dismissed her fears, but as a defense, armed himself with a .22 caliber revolver.
He had it for his own protection. He only took it with him when he would go to big affairs. I know he brought it to the festival. He pulled it out and showed it to them, but only to make them stop and think when they were beating him. I know he wouldn't use it.
By the time the Stones took the stage, the scene at Altamont had already been flooded with anger, violence, and death. The Hells Angels had been drinking since before the concert had began, so by the time the final act emerged, each and every one of them weren't remotely fit to effectively provide security. Meredith and Patty both pushed forward in the crowd to get a better view of the Stones. Meredith managed to get right up to the stage, the perfect vantage point, while it lasted.
They hit him. I couldn't tell whether it was with a knife or what, but they hit him on the side of the head. And he stumbled to his knees, and he came running towards me. I grabbed onto the scaffold to get out of his way, but he stumbled back down again. And the Hells Angel, the one from earlier, grabbed him by his shoulders and started kicking him 5 times in the face. And then he fell down on his face. And another one came and kicked him so that he rolled over. And in the process, he was muttering, "I wasn't going to shoot you." Those were the last words that he muttered. One of the Hells Angels grabbed one of those garbage cans and started smashing his head in with it. And then 5 more of them started kicking his head in. The others wouldn't let us touch him for 2, maybe 3 minutes. And even then they were like, "Don't touch him. He's going to die anyway. Let him die. He's going to die."
Meredith, despite being helped by a small number of people, didn't have a chance. Thanks to the planning, they lacked the proper medical facilities to help him on site, and the only helicopter that could have gotten him to a hospital in time was reserved for the Stones. He died waiting for an ambulance, and he was buried, thanks to the media, brutally massacred on a night of peace, then stripped of his name, humanity, and intentions. Just a black man with a gun. America's favorite faceless enemy. And, until the last decade or so, the boy laid beneath an unmarked tombstone, forgotten. Meredith's existence unwittingly roped him into a multi-generational narrative of deception, pain, and blood we're all too familiar with. A lynching, whether it's 1969 or this very moment, is still a lynching.
Grant was shot to death. Then Officer Anthony Perrone called Grant a racial epithet and kneeled down on his neck.
Philando Castile, a supervisor at a school cafeteria where kids loved him, was taken to the hospital and died.
The death of 37-year-old Alton Sterling.
The police-involved shooting that led to the death of a 20-year-old black man.
The killing of 26-year-old Breonna Taylor.
The fatal shooting of Ahmaud Arbery.
The death of George Floyd.
We are a wounded people, but President Clinton, America is also wounded. And there's hostility now in the great divide between the people. Socially, the fabric of America is being torn apart. And it's black against black, black against white, white against white, white against black. We are being torn apart. And we can't gloss it over with nice speeches.
The city would not charge the 2 police officers who shot and killed an unarmed black man last year.
Declined to indict 2 white Cleveland police officers
in the shooting death of 12-year-old Tamir Rice.
A police officer will not face federal charges.
Not to file charges.
Acquitted him of all charges.
No criminal charges.
One officer, as we've been reporting, charged with wanton endangerment for those bullets going into a neighboring apartment. But Breonna Taylor's family asking, what about the bullets that hit Taylor?